I called the meeting to order on July 16th at 8:40 a.m. and I'm doing a roll call of officers to confirm everybody is here. Candace Viox present. David Purvis.
Present. I'm here.
Jim Nixon. Jim Nixon.
I'm here.
Okay. Kevin Morrison.
Yes, ma'am.
Herc Ligdis. He appears to be absent. Tony Cox.
Here.
Michelle Austin is absent. Louise Pavlin.
Here.
Jeremy Kendrick.
I'm here.
Darren Talent is absent. And Mayor doesn't seem to be on the call. I know he's not a voter. David Smoke is also on the meeting, but he's non-voting director. And Stephen Kropowski, you're here, correct? Now we can't hear you, Stephen. I think you're on mute. Okay, anyway, approval of minutes from last week. Did everybody have an opportunity to look over these? Everybody is okay with the summary? Does anybody have any comments, questions, or issues with any of the meetings from our last meeting on June 18th?
I make a motion that we approve.
Second. That was Louise that seconded.
Okay, so I have to go down all the names again, right? Candace Viox approved. David Purvis. You made
Approved.
the motion. Yep. Jim Nixon.
Yes.
Kevin Morrison.
Approved.
Tony Cox.
Yes.
Louise Pavlin was the second.
Yes.
Jeremy Kendrick.
I approve.
Okay, so the minutes have been approved at this time. The next motion is for the approval of the financials. David Purvis was able to get all of those to us. Are there any questions, issues, concerns, or things that need to be discussed during our review of our financials?
I'll give you my normal commentary. We got about 30,000 in the bank. Steve just made a submission for a draw from the town on our grant. We're in pretty good financial shape, other than the fact our revenue is significantly off. Expenses are off, but not as much as our revenue is. So our loss this year is not good compared to when we had a profit last year, but that's going to continue until we can start having our events.
Thank you, David. Does anybody else have any concerns or issues with the financials at this time?
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second. It's Kevin.
And Kevin was the second. Okay, so I'm going to read through. Candace Viox, yes. David Purvis.
Yes.
Jim Nixon.
Yes.
Kevin Morrison.
Yes.
Tony Cox was the motion to approve. So Tony. Louise Pavlin.
Yes.
And Jeremy Kendrick was the second.
I approve.
Okay. So the approval of financial has been accepted at this time. Now we're heading to the content committee. That would be Tony's update on our Shop Farragut campaign and what we're doing. Tony, can you please give us some information?
Run back through what we just submitted to the town. Nothing earth-shattering, no big changes from the last time we went through, but Shop Farragut's Facebook account had 232 posts and a total reach of 13,202 Facebook users from April 1 through June 30th. Of that reach, 710 were engaged in either like or click on the post to learn more about the post. We all know that April was the peak of our COVID stay-at-home orders in Knox County and in the state of Tennessee. Shop Farragut, continued to be active socially promoting lists, which led people back to our website for folks to, see what businesses were open and what the offerings were of the businesses through the shutdown. Going on through this, May and June were not the busiest of months. When you go back and you try to compare it to previous years, there's really no comparison. We had no taste of Farragut during the month of May. We had nothing happening during the month of June. So our social numbers were really kind of flat and stale during that time period. For Twitter, the same type of scenario. We had 10,422 impressions, over 119 tweets during that same time period. Twitter, Steve, whenever Steve's using Twitter, he does a lot of sharing, sharing of posts when people have additional items or events that they have going on. And when the businesses weren't able to put on events as well, that kind of limited the amount of things that were being shared out there for Farragut businesses and also from our own standpoint of the things that we had happening at that point in time. Do anticipate us to have an increase coming up for July as we're getting busy and getting ready to have our first event in a long time. I'm hoping that we'll see a lot of excitement happening around a first-time event for the Health and Wellness Expo. But with the idea of dogs coming up a week later, I'm thinking that we should see more activity happening there. So nothing earth-shattering, guys.
I can add that since posting the events, we're seeing about a 6% increase of traffic on our website. And although they're not massive increases or anything, the people are spending a longer time. We've gone through about people looking at one page and moving on to almost 2 pages now when they visit the website. And that's all happened in the last 2 weeks.
Thank you, Tony and Steve. We appreciate the update.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so now to Steve, update on health and wellness. I know that some people are worried with the COVID increase in Knox County, the buzz of a possible another business shutdown, although I did see Governor Lee promising that he wasn't going to shut down businesses, so I don't see the health and wellness being necessarily impacted. The only concern is currently under the Tennessee pledge, up to 100 people is kind of the buzz. And then I did see an email where somebody has pulled out of the health and wellness. So Steve, if you don't mind, can you update us on health and wellness and what our plans are and what will be happening if we do have to pull the plug? What kind of update us on the Health and Wellness Expo, please?
Well, if we stay at the levels that we are now, everything's moving ahead okay. We did have some people that made decisions to not attend this year. And most of them are all worried about repercussions from the community. Not that they were putting themselves at risk or putting anybody else at risk. It was all about the blowback of their business being associated with a gathering. So in the meantime, I spent this last week adding people too who have been on a waiting list. And there's a lot of people eager. I've got, since the news article and the first ads have hit, I've had more phone calls to be able to replace those that have left. So right now we're at 35 vendors as of today, this morning. And many of them aren't the big businesses, but there's different reasons. Clean Eats, for example, when we moved the date, it just seems that they're opening their Maryville store and having a big celebration of their Maryville store on the same date, so they had to pull out, non-COVID related. And I think some of the smaller businesses, I think the price of even $100, they're weighing that factor of buying a booth. So I know Neighborhood Bar has specifically asked for a refund, although I try to get them to move it forward into the next one, which is in January. And those people that I've talked to, they're eager to get to the January one, who have moved back. And I think in my conversations with Kevin, they intend to be the presenting sponsor for the January Expo, Tenova, continuing their relationship. Health and wellness, we've got 500 masks to back up anyone who shows up without a mask. I've hired 3 security people to help me manage the crowds and take counts. We'll have 2 at the entry and 1 at the exit to make sure no one kind of doubles back. I met with Sue and staff at the community center this past Monday to map out the layout. I think we're in great shape for a big community event. And I think we're going to see those people that aren't scared to get out in the public will do that. The arrangement is just like going to the grocery store. You'll walk aisles and you'll stop at certain sections as if you're at the produce aisle or whatever, then you'll move on, and we'll try to keep people moving. If any of the board members would like to attend and help me talk with the merchants and make sure they're fine and keep the crowds moving along, I'd appreciate that. I'll volunteer some hours. That's really where we're at. Any questions? All of our advertising, all of our publicity, make sure that people know that we're using the Tennessee Pledge.
Steve, I assume that we'll have hand sanitizer stations all over the place. I know that they have them at the.
Well, the town has a few, but I'm asking all of the vendors to bring hand sanitizers to each of their booths. And when I talk with the banks and a few other people, if they have pens or little sanitizer swag or anything like that, we'll try to congregate that at the entrance and make sure people just grab their own pen to carry with them throughout the whole event.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Are we also handing out any of the Shop Farragut bags like we've used in the past for people to be able to put items in, or are we not using the Shop Farragut bags at this event?
Not using Shop Farragut bags. They're a little more expensive to hand out at a free event. I do have Shop Farragut refrigerator magnets that have you put your emergency numbers on it, and it's got the Shop Farragut logo and everything for people to take with them. I'm assuming some of the booths may have bags or plastic bags that they'll be using too. So I don't know what people are bringing, and but it would not be cost effective for those cloth bags.
And then this is Kevin. I was going to add commentary from Turkey Creek's Turkey Medical Center. So from us, yeah, definitely wanted to support it all, and probably as soon as probably 3 weeks ago, we were still 100% gung-ho for it, but we've seen a pretty drastic increase here, not only in cases, but also hospitalizations. Knox County is at its high mark again. We seem to be setting high marks every day. We're up over 100 hospitalizations between the hospitals here in Knox County. So it was really, from our standpoint, not the right time to have be the presenting sponsor of an event that basically gathers people together. As I told Steve, doesn't mean anything monetarily. We're still going to make a $1,500 contribution to Shop Farragut, just not necessarily for this event. I know we had a lot of press release already, and obviously got a lot of name exposure, and appreciate that. And certainly not a monetary decision. It was simply we could not deal with any potential blowback of that if something were to happen. We control and have full control of everybody inside of our four walls, but obviously at an event like this, we can control kind of directly in front of us, but not the entire event. So that's kind of ultimately why we decided to pull the presenting sponsor. And as Steve said, we are in full support and expect to be presenting sponsor in January for the second Health and Wellness Expo.
Thank you, Kevin. Any other questions? Someone's calling me from the town. Hello? Yeah.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate you, and I understand why that you guys can't be, but we do appreciate your contribution to Shop Farragut. But I'm seeing at Tenova, when I drove by, I saw the sign. So is Tenova now also personally here in Turkey Creek seeing an increase as well? You had mentioned that there was an increase in Knox County. Are you seeing an increase at Turkey Creek as well, Kevin?
Yes, we have. So we had to actually stand up a dedicated, you call it dirty unit, but a dedicated unit for COVID positive patients. Throughout the week, we've been averaging over the last, I guess now a month now, it's probably been 4 weeks, we've averaged around between 4 to 7 inpatients at that time, varying degrees of complexity, multiple of them on the vents. So test results, I mean, this is my own personal opinion. I mean, test results, with more testing, you're going to have more positives. So, of course, cases go up. Our standpoint from a hospital is whenever you see hospitalizations go up and vented patients go up, that's whenever we become a little bit more concerned. So that's again, we pay more attention to that. And again, that's where we continue to set those highs. And as you're mentioning, not just for all of Knox County, but even here in West Knoxville as well.
Thank you for updating us on that. I appreciate it. Stephen, are you back with us? Are you ready to talk about dog days?
Alan Sloan wanted to join the meeting, and I had not passed on the link to him, so I had to get that taken care of.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? That I'm fine now. Thank you.
Okay, Alan. Thank you. Are we on to dog days?
Yes, that would be great.
Dog days is once again, I think, as an outdoor event, we're still going to operate under Tennessee Pledge and ask people to wear masks where they're congregating, but of course, as an open air event, it'll be some with masks probably and some without. We ask people to social distance through the event. Like I mentioned last month, all of the contestant slots and registrations were completed within a day. So we've added approximately 6 hours to the whole event over the between Saturday and Sunday. The beverage licenses have all been applied for. I'll be meeting this coming a week from today at the beer board to confirm a beer for not only Dog Days, but also for the Taste of Farragut at the beer board meeting. We continue to get vendors for Dog Days, but I have a lot of space available, so look forward to any more additional people. Newest sponsor coming on is Goodall Homes, building the new subdivision out there in West Farragut. And it's pretty much the same event, and everything's lining up and as usual. Any questions? Same setup, same location. And it's a week after our expo.
Okay, does anybody have anything else to add before we get on to the Town of Farragut report with David Smoke? Nope, we're ready to go. Okay, David, take it away, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Just a couple things to update the committee on today. First is tonight we have a planning commission meeting at 7 o'clock. A couple items on there that are relevant for the FBA. One is old Kroger property. We've been talking to the developer, and I know I've talked to y'all about this several times over the last few months about the redevelopment of that site. Tonight's going to be the concept plan for the planning commission to review and give kind of a final feedback to, if you will, to the developer to make sure that he can move forward. And there's a lot of ordinance amendments. There's a lot of FEMA modeling that still has to take place, variances that probably would have to be requested. So we still have a long way to go. But if they like the layout, the way it looks, then we'll have to walk through that process with the developer over the next several months to get that ironed out. So it's still a long process, but things are moving forward, and he's still excited about the possibilities here for that site. So that's going to be on the agenda tonight. Another item on the agenda is something we've been talking about relative to the corner property at the Campbell Station, Kingston Pike, where Admiral's Corner is going to be located. And that is to start to have a conversation around allowing microbrews and brew pubs in the town. And so we'll have a conversation with the Planning Commission tonight, more of a discussion about what does it need to look like, how far does it need to go, do we need to have limits on size, on number of barrels that somebody could produce out of a facility like that. So lots of questions, lots of things to talk through. But our staff's been working really hard on this the last few weeks, and we hope to have something that the Planning Commission can vote on here and move forward with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen soon. So a couple things on the Board of Mayor and Aldermen's agenda for next week, not this week, but next week, is the sign ordinance. We've been talking about the sign ordinance for several months now as well. We kind of put it on pause a little bit with the COVID related issues and had other things that were coming up that were a little more pressing. But we're going to have a workshop with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to get the whole board caught up to speed on the changes that we're talking about making at the next meeting. And then hopefully if they're comfortable with it, then we'll move forward for first reading on that a couple weeks later. Also, something that we've been working on are ordinances related to pain management clinics. And these are things that right now can be pretty much in any zoning district in Farragut. We're looking to try to make sure that we're being cautious around schools and around sensitive daycare areas, things like that. And so with the ordinance, the way we're crafting it and the way it's going to go to the board for first reading is to really limit it up to the kind of the C2 zone, which is mostly Turkey Creek and that area up there. And there's a lot of other parameters around that too. But if you think about that area, that's about the only one that they would be able to go to in the future. So those are a couple of things that we've been working on ordinance-wise for the last few months. Also, just wanted to give you a quick update on, I know COVID related, we had to cut back our revenue projections for the year, not only this year, but for next year as well. We've been able to get a couple of months of revenues in so far for March and then for April. That's the latest numbers that we have from the state. And although they are well below what we typically get on an annual basis, they're actually higher than I projected for the budget. So I guess there's a little bit of good and bad in both. It's a little better than I had thought, but it's definitely not as good as it has been in the past. So we're hoping that with the economy continuing to kind of stay in the same motion that it is, that we'll be able to see our revenues continue to kind of get closer to that normal level soon. But obviously, as Kevin mentioned earlier, with the case counts and everything else going up, we got to be cautious and make sure, everybody's wearing their mask when they go in buildings and things like that too. So anyway, that's all I have today, unless anybody's got any questions for me.
The commission meeting will be on TV along with the workshop preceding it.
The Planning Commission meeting, Steve?
Yeah.
Yes, it'll be on TDS and Charter both live tonight, and the workshop starts at 5:30, and then the regular meeting's at 7.
Yeah, that's the 5G workshop.
Correct. We're having a speaker come from the University of Maryland to speak to the Planning Commission about just how 5G works, all the different ins and outs of 5G, and 4G, 3G, small technology, cell phones, you name it. He'll be able to discuss the different wavelengths and all the particulars about that. So if you want to get an education on how things work, then it'd be a good workshop to listen to.
Well, I mentioned that because my wife and I sold our house and we are building in Brookmere. And so I'll be in an apartment for about 7 months.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Well, just want to let you know.
Great.
Okay, well, thank you, David. I appreciate you sharing that. Does anybody else have any questions about any of the other things going on in Farragut at this time for David?
Blue Ridge Yoga closed, is temporary closing down. That was posted on Facebook. Just let people know that they just suspended operations. They're not closing, but they're suspending during this period. I did check on some properties for the Farragut is Open campaign, and businesses like Greatness Fitness, there was a sushi operation next door to them in that plaza on Kingston Pike. They're gone and closed. The restaurant up there near Health Markets and the Tiorama, the La Frigita restaurant, which has closed. I don't know all the background on any of that property, but we're looking into that as we try to maintain a list of businesses for the town on their Visit Farragut website.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that obviously some of these businesses have closed, and we certainly, want to keep all of our businesses and going. But one thing that we're continuing to work on, as Steve's been helping us with, is this Doors Are Opening in Farragut campaign, and we're kind of right in that's kind of the middle of it right now. We've been focusing on different areas of town. Hopefully, you've been able to see those and see the videos. We've had ads on WBIR, WATE, so we've kind of been changing which stations we've been utilizing for that. So we've gotten some good feedback so far from that. Hopefully people just realize, hey, we can go out and check out these restaurants, check out these stores, and visit and feel safe when we go there.
Another thing I'm sorry, go ahead, Steve.
I was just going to mention that there are virtual, they call them virtual ribbon cuttings, but basically they're gatherings of people being held by the Farragut West Knoxville Chamber. I will try to attend some of those. In fact, there's a networking going on right now as we have this meeting over at the Hassan State Farm Agency here on Kingston Pike. But there are events being conducted by the chamber. And if any of the board members are interested in that, I can make sure that you get the information. But they're gathering and trying to get some exposure and promotion for these businesses. Confident Smiles, I believe, is coming up next week. Brand new dentist office on Kingston Pike.
And I've noticed here at the restaurant, every weekend, there seems to be a very large influx of people from other states. People are moving here and they are coming to Farragut, and whether it be they spent the day with their real estate agent and now they need a glass of wine to kind of figure out where or if they want to come to this area. But houses are selling within hours of going up for sale. And so Farragut is just, I've met many couples from New York State. I've met a couples from California. So this COVID thing is bringing a whole different kind of group of people to our community. And I'm seeing it firsthand at the restaurant. So I don't know if anybody else is seeing it. I don't know if new businesses are going to come because they're going to bring their businesses with them. There's a lot of people that are able to work from home. And so now they're leaving this one particular couple, they're leaving their $2 million, 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment in New York City, and they're moving here because they can both work from home now. And they want to be in an area with, parks, and they love our sidewalks, and they love, kind of all the things that Louise and our mayor and everybody has kind of fought for. They're looking for that small hometown safe feel. So hold on to your hats and glasses, because there's a lot of people that are flooding to Farragut right now. So I know everybody is seeing that.
Also as an update, Discovery is refurbing the old Scripps building, main building, redoing the air handling systems, because they're moving all their Food Network programming to Knoxville. They cannot operate in New York under their COVID guidelines and film the shows. So shows like Chopped and so forth are coming to Knoxville. There are a number of our media companies like River Media looking to try to get them to outsource more to them in this market. So there's a number of players that we're going to see growth. So I don't know if we're going to see the stars moving here, but we'll see probably more activity of them coming to do filming. But there's got to be production people going to be moving back into this area from New York as well.
And they're pushing the price of houses up, by the way.
And may I add, I sat down, some fellow from an hour west of Chicago reached out to me, and I met him and his family for lunch. Of course, we sat outside, and he runs his own business basically out of his home, and he's looking to relocate down here. They were studying the areas. They did not want to move to Nashville because obviously he said there's so much going on there and it is very expensive. So Knoxville seemed like a natural fit to him. So yes, I talked to Eric Whitener the other night. He's a realtor, an area realtor. Of course, they sell all over the place, but they are up 60% in business from this same time last year. So they're seeing a lot of movement to this area. So it's interesting. It's exciting. It sounds overwhelming, but I guess it's a good thing. Knoxville is really starting to attract people for the things that we have. And of course, Farragut is sitting pretty with all of the things that people are looking for. And hopefully with the build out. Hopefully we can see that old Kroger area build out and see the heart of our town finally removed of its old scars of empty buildings, and we can start seeing activity. We're in a really good position. It still takes a lot of work to make sure that our land use plan is well suited for what we'd like to see, and make sure that as we continue to grow out, we're not negatively impacting the quality of life that we all very much value in the town of Farragut. So interesting times.
Yes, and that brings me to the report to the town of Farragut from the Farragut Business Alliance for the Shop Farragut that Stephen put together. I don't know if everybody got this in their email, but I loved our goals. I thought this was a very nice presentation, Steve, that you made. But the goal number one of the Farragut Business Alliance is to positively impact the amount of sales tax dollars collected in the town of Farragut. And obviously he lists our objectives with how Shop Farragut will help, and the events and the community events that we're able to still continue to do once things kind of calm down. And if we have to move them to outside parks, if we're actually able to sell alcohol or wine or liquor or beer one day at a park, if we're going to have to start moving everything to outside, that's going to have to be something to be considered. And then the goal number two is to maintain the Farragut Business Alliance as a positive, reflective of the values and progress of the town of Farragut. And so I think with the Farragut Business Alliance excited, supportive, and moving forward to help all the new businesses and new people that come in, while, obviously keeping us safe with Tennessee Pledge. I think we have a really good group of people, and it's going to be very exciting what the next year holds, and at least in my opinion. Are there any further comments or any ideas or suggestions that need to be shared at this time? Okay, our next meeting is September the 17th. No. Yeah. I've got September 17th as the Taste of Farragut.
October 4, Sunday, October 4 is the Taste of Farragut.
Is the actual Taste of Farragut. Okay. So our next
September 17th is a Thursday, and we may, when we realign the dates, because August was so busy, there was no need to have a meeting since both of the events would be taking place. And that would give me time to do a wrap up in September. So
good. So we will not be having a meeting in August. We will see everybody hopefully at the events. You guys come out, and our next meeting will be September 17th. And thank you so much for everybody who came. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Candace.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen Hatmaker. Jen, our host. Thank you, Jen, for putting this together.
Thank you, Jen.